Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this Festival of Cancer. Before we start, there's just a couple of things I want to say. Just to remind people to turn off your cell phones who are in the room. Good. And we made some slight changes in the format. We're not going to say the announcements at the end of the meeting, but they'll be on your screen or you have them on your chairs, whether you're here or online, because we don't want it to break up the meditation so much. And also, I'm not going to read the whole words within the stages of the meditation. We'll just say the stage. And if you need to read it, you have it on your chair or on the screen. And then at the end, we're just going to sit quietly after the meditation and hold the spiritual energy that we've generated. So this is the first of the two Cancer full moons this year. And whenever two full moons occur in one sign, a phenomenon that happens from time to time, we can be confident that there is a special emphasis on the energetic qualities of that sign, and that on some level, most likely beyond our comprehension, those qualities are needed at this particular time. This evening, we are working very closely to the exact time of the full moon, which will occur at 9:08 p.m. Eastern Time in a few short hours. This timing offers us a special opportunity to deepen the field of light in which we work, the field of purposeful spiritual tension which we build, so that it can be used by hierarchy in service to the whole. As we imagine people all around the world in any tradition meditating at the time of the full moon, let us visualize this mental field scintillating and glowing with purpose and intention, receptive to hierarchical impression and responsive to human need. At the exact time of the full moon, an alignment is made between the sun and moon, when these celestial bodies pause on opposite sides of the earth. A channel is then created which allows not only extraplanetary energies to flow into the system through the sun, but also facilitates the free flow of energies around and within the three planetary centers of Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity. From Earth, most especially at this time, a band of light on which we can imaginatively travel extends from our lighted field directly into the hierarchy. This particular full moon also falls at the summer solstice, the exact time of which occurred yesterday. This is a time when all around the world in the Northern Hemisphere, people celebrate the time of the greatest daylight. The theme of light dominates the thinking of millions through celebratory gatherings, rituals, and general celebrations. Prayers and invocations for more light go on constantly at this time. So as we see the image of all humanity reaching for light, demanding light, we are naturally aided in our invocative efforts by the mass emphasis on increasing light in the world. All life seeks light, and no forms of life can exist without it. Light unites us and nourishes us. The sign of Cancer is the second of the four signs of the cardinal cross, the quaternary that represents the life principle. One reason why the Tibetans said in so many ways that it is difficult to fully understand it until after the third initiation. Cancer is known as one of the two gates or doors of the zodiac. Through Cancer, life enters into form. Spirit, the breath of God, becomes incarnated into matter. The soul is born into manifestation, and the long involutionary and eventually evolutionary journey of human life begins. The soul begins the long cycle of physical death and rebirth, failing and succeeding, with power and under the control of others, endless combinations of circumstances and outcomes, until all the attraction of form life is spent and a new life can be entered in Capricorn, the gate of the father, of life itself, the opposite door of the mother of Cancer. Students of the ageless wisdom know that discovering the light in the head as a result of occult meditation reveals more light. It is known that every atom in our bodies has a nucleus of light within, and that this light can be sent forth to others via the mental plane. So with this in mind, let us reaffirm our commitment to preparing for the full moon and magnifying divine light, the light of the Christ. We will use the mantra of the disciple, followed by a single Om. Keep in mind that when we say I am, it is the soul speaking, not the personal self that houses the soul. I am a point of light within a greater light. I am a strand of loving energy within the stream of love divine. I am a point of sacrificial fire, focused within the fiery will of God, and thus I stand. I am a way by which men may achieve. I am a source of strength, enabling them to stand. I am a beam of light shining upon their way, and thus I stand. And standing thus revolve, and tread this way the ways of men, and know the ways of God, and thus I stand. Oh. The story of Cancer centers on the law of rebirth and the human journey of its relationship to the soul in form, from mass consciousness to group consciousness. Long before the soul descends into matter, it first gathers its mental substance in Aries, proceeds into the astral plane to receive its emotional qualities in Taurus, and then lastly, its etheric physical vestures in Gemini, where duality is revealed. The soul is then ready to descend into the living waters of form and to inhabit a physical body where at first it sleeps for countless time while remaining active on its own plane. Eventually, its form, or reflection, begins to become sensitive to the note of the soul. Constantly and rhythmically, the soul repeats this process over and over for thousands of years, all the while perfecting and honing its vehicles. The Tibetan comments, as man passes around and around the zodiac in the ordinary manner, he continually and consciously enters into life in Cancer, the constellation under which the law of rebirth is applied and administered. This is a universal and cosmic law, the entirety of which is ruled and controlled by the constellation Cancer. It connects all manifested human life in the cyclic relationship between soul and form, life and matter, and all humanity is subject to it. We are told by ancient wisdom that humans must continue this cycle of birth, death, and rebirth over and over again until material substance no longer has any control over the soul and the soul stands free. When the soul in form has gained all the wisdom, knowledge, and experience necessary to achieve its final dissolution at the fourth initiation, the law of rebirth no longer applies. Its jurisdiction is over, and the influence of Cancer is left behind for the initiated disciple, while still remaining active, while still remaining active for the collective. The law has been fulfilled. Re-entry into form then becomes simply a voluntary and sacrificial service to the plan. such sacrificial service as demonstrated by the Christ and his arhats. So important is this law of rebirth that the Tibetan tells us that, quote, in the recognition of this law will be found the solution to all of the problems of humanity. I just have to say that again. So important is this law of rebirth that in the recognition of this law will be found the solution to all of the problems of humanity. Clearly, the law of rebirth is widely recognized in the East, and its recognition and acceptance is ever growing in the West. Its recognition changes one's attitude toward life, and the fear of death simply vanishes as one realizes rebirth is simply the act of changing the outer form, as in changing one garment of clothing for another. One realizes that death is a release from the limitations of form and should not be feared. Christ said, "Except a man be born again, cannot see the kingdom of God." And strangely, a majority of so-called religious people in the West have looked aside at this directive, largely ignoring it, as have many of Christ's utterances been pushed aside. Cancer rules the stage of development of instinctual awareness. Human beings are, at least physically, animals, and we have all gone through the stage many eons ago where instinct was the dominant type of consciousness. Animals rely on instinct to govern their actions and to safeguard their lives, and without this sense, they would perish. The same with early man. We know, we know that animals can sense danger in a way we can't really understand, and they have various methods to cope with it. For humanity, cancer governs the so-called masses, mass awareness, and mass reactions. A mob can turn into a violent animal if the intellectual faculty is missing or minimal. The mob has no rational thought. It reacts with unbridled emotion. Or large groups of people can simultaneously experience joy, inspiration, or sadness, as at a musical concert or a performance. The mass is also invocative of Shambhala, where, we're told, the sense of synthesis will be perceived more easily than in individuals. Throughout the ages, the prayers and supplications that have gone out have lifted the quality of connection between the fourth and fifth kingdoms, humanity and the hierarchy. The desire of humanity for peace, for a healthy and useful life, and for freedom from fear and want unites this group, making it a field through which the Christ can work. The light of love pours into the field of the mass to stimulate the hearts of all who seek freedom from the battle with form, the resistance and consequent friction presented by matter. In Cancer, the name by which the Christ avatar is known is he whom the masses sense or he whom they anticipate, making very real the image of a powerful field of mass appeal. We know from our studies, and especially work with the Thursday reflective meditation on preparation for the reappearance of the Christ, that the avatar is called by many names and is still the same great identity. This field of mass appeal is clearly heard on high as Christ and his hierarchy prepare to move closer to physical manifestation. The word of the soul in Cancer, I build a lighted house and therein dwell, illuminates the destiny of life in form which Cancer initiates. The material nature, the mother aspect, keeps the soul imprisoned and is in control for many, many lifetimes until much that it has to teach the soul has been absorbed and mastered. Then the real battle begins as the angel begins to make its presence known and the dweller takes on more power in the effort to sustain itself. The soul awakens within the form and seeks release from the prison it has inhabited for so long. This is the moment that the light of the soul pours into the consciousness, and the aspirant, and we are all aspirants, realizes that light is all around, that she herself has the potential to wield that light in service to others, and it becomes a personal responsibility to use and grow this light going forward. Building a lighted house has many levels of meaning. On the surface, it becomes obvious that the physical form must be purified and cleansed of toxins or blockages to good health. But all the vehicles of form, the physical etheric, emotional astral, and the mental body, require purification, and this takes time and many lifetimes. Eventually, as the personality practices detachment and dispassion, and the soul gains power and influence, the light within the form grows and glows, burning away any and all impediments to its expression and purpose. And the light within begins to be outwardly visible until eventually the inner light is so powerful that it can readily be seen outwardly as the light body. This building process, however, has to be a group effort. Humanity, as the planetary light bearer, and the new group of world servers, as the forerunner of the Christ, must build and work in light substance through meditation, prayer, and service. Esotericists work with energies, so the building with light comes from within. The work is to create a lighted field into which the Christ can enter our hearts, our minds, and the physical plane. Consequently, there is much to do to clean house before the avatar can appear. How are we doing? We know that the nature of the soul is light, and it is only through the soul that the lighted building work can be successful. The Tibetan counsels, what does concern us here is how this light is recognized, appropriated, and used in order to dispel glamour and render a deeply esoteric service to the world. It might be said that the inner light is like a searchlight, swinging out into the world of glamour and of human struggle from what one master has called the pedestal of the soul and the spiritual tower or beacon. The labor of Hercules for Cancer offers another aspect for our consideration. The great presiding one challenged Hercules to labor in a field wherein he must decide which voice of the many voices will arouse the obedience of his heart. He was asked to capture the elusive doe and bring it back to the temple as a sacred offering. But others claimed it. Artemis, the moon, representing instinctual awareness, claimed the doe as her own. And Diana, the huntress, representing intellectual awareness, claimed the doe as well. Hercules, however, was searching for a quality more intangible and subtle, something for which he had to search for a very long time. The doe, representing spiritual intuition, kept eluding him, letting Hercules have fleeting glimpses of it and then vanishing seemingly into thin air. But the disciple Hercules wasn't to be deterred, as perseverance is a discipleship quality. Finally, after a year of combing the countryside, Hercules succeeded in his task. He brought the doe back to the temple and humbly offered it to the sun god. In this quest, we are taught that while the spiritual intuition is at first difficult to perceive, yet once our consciousness has become sensitized to its energy, it widens our field of contact and becomes an instrument for use in selfless service. It is a tool we can use to further the divine plan. The Tibetan puts it thusly: the intuition is a function of the mind also, and when rightly used, it enables man to grasp reality with clarity and to see that reality free from glamour and the illusions of the three worlds. When the intuition functions in any human being, he is enabled to take direct and correct action, for he is in touch with the plan, with pure and unadulterated fact and undistorted ideas, free from illusion and coming direct from the divine or universal mind. The unfoldment of this faculty will bring about a world recognition of the plan, and this is the greatest achievement of the intuition in this present world cycle. Cancer fosters a sensitivity to the environment, either through an instinctual awareness when this faculty is needed, through intellectual development, which at this point for most of humanity has reached a high level, and finally through a developed intuition that opens the doors of consciousness to a newer and more revelatory comprehension. All these progressions involve a growing soul light, the light that illumines all aspects of human living, revealing and cleansing its flaws and showing the way forward. As we prepare to enter our group meditation, let us renew our spiritual tension and rededicate ourselves to the service of the coming one, while visualizing supernal light permeating all of the planet with cleansing and healing rays, while building the path of light for the coming world teacher. The Tibetan gave this invocative prayer to one of his disciples. Grant me the light that I may shine. Let me throughout the world of time and space radiate light, create a light, transmit the light, and treading thus the lighted way, which is my light itself, enter the light, and so return the light to those who need, to those likewise from whence it came. Keynote of the full moon approach to the hierarchy. He who faces the light and stands within its radiance is blinded to the issues of the world of men. He passes on the lighted way to the great center of absorption. But he who feels the urge to pass that way, yet loves his brother on the darkened path, revolves upon the pedestal of light and turns the other way. He faces towards the dark, and then the 7 points of light within himself transmit the outward streaming light, and lo, the face of those upon the darkened way receives that light. For them, the way is not so dark. Behind the warriors, twixt the light and dark, blazes the light of hierarchy. Letting in the light. Group fusion. I am one with my group brothers, and all that I have is theirs. May the love which is in my soul pour forth to them. May the strength which is in me lift and aid them. May the thoughts which my soul creates reach and encourage them. alignment. Higher interlude. Meditation on the seed thought for Cancer. I build a lighted house and therein dwell. precipitation. The lower interlude. We focus the consciousness in the ashram. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. distribution. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Oh, oh, oh.